SlamBall Nation, an official SlamBall podcast where we think we're going to be official. We just got the contract, and there's some legalese that needs to be finessed in there. So we think we're going to be official, but as of today, we are official, completely dedicated to the greatest sport on the planet, SlamBall. I'm your co-host, Brendan Kirsch, head coach of the undefeated, undisputed, 18-0 world champion mob. Maybe you've heard of us, and I'm joined by my co-host, the OG from the very beginning, day one, head coach of the Bouncers, current head coach of the Buzzsaw, Hernando Planells Jr. Coach H, what's happening, brother?
Well, I'm just enjoying my villa, as you can tell from my background here, in my undisclosed location. But just want to let everybody know that I have now a spatula attached to the microphone, high-level stuff. So for that podcast contract, maybe we could throw in a microphone holder for good old Coach Hernando. And let's not forget that today's episode, hopefully, maybe one day, will be sponsored by Coke Zero, the ultimate drink when you're trying to not be healthy. But it's 0 calories.
There you go, Taylor. There's a plug for Coca-Cola Company. We're ready to go. All right. Well, we've been joined by all types of guests through our first 6 episodes of SlamBall Nation. Former coaches, league executives, ex-players, and we were even joined by the creator and CEO himself, Mason Gordon. But this marks a first in our very short history. That's right. We're going to be joined by 2 current SlamBall players, and not just any players, but the first and second round draft picks for the mob, handler Cam Horton and gunner Darius Clark. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. And let me just ask you, how does it feel to be the champs?
Oh, brother.
Hey, it's feeling great. You know, it's feeling like winning how winning a championship feels. It just feels great, undefeated. You know.
Yeah, man, it's hard to top that feeling, man. 18-0. I feel good. I'm feeling good going on to next year. So you know what I'm saying. We're gonna try to do it all over.
Run it back.
I love it. You hear that, Coach? They're talking directly to the Buzzsaw. They're saying they're getting ready to run it back.
I know. You better watch out. I've been sharpening my buzzsaws at the Home Depot, getting ready for the mob asses. It's like it's no problem. I've got everybody all over the country. We are sharpening the saws. Coming for you.
You got now today the official mob team account dropped the championship rings designed by Baron Championship Rings. What were your initial thoughts on that, seeing those for the first time?
Yeah, that was clean. It looks like the Chiefs Super Bowl ring. Looks official, valid.
I love it. Yeah, the only difference is the Chiefs didn't go 18-0 and we did. All right, so
exactly.
Jumping into it, we've got a lot of listeners that are either fans of SlamBall, players, coaches, league execs, everybody. How did you guys first hear about SlamBall? You come from 2 different backgrounds. Dak, I know you did some hoops and all that stuff back in the day, but track and field primarily. Cam, you were a hooper. Tell us a little bit about how you first heard of SlamBall and what you did to get ready for tryouts.
You got it, Cam.
So my coach, I guess it was an email. It was spam to many coaches across the United States, and my coach ran across it, and he was like, "Hey," because he'd been telling me before, like, I think you in the wrong sport. I think you should have been playing football. I guess I had great footwork, and I was like, man, that kind of hurt. That I'm a basketball player. I love basketball. You telling me I should have played football? Okay, cool. That's whatever. He was like, man, I think you should go play SlamBall. And of course, I watched it when it was on Cartoon Network. And, you know what I'm saying? It was cool and everything. I was like, you know what? I didn't get the overseas contract, so I'm going to go try this out. And, you know, that's how I got SlamBall.
And so I was kind of like in the same kind of boat. It was one of my judges for a dunk show or dunk competition, who's also the assistant coach for the Slashers remix or whatever we call them. And yeah, he had DM'd me back in like March, and he was like, "You ever heard of SlamBall?" And I was, this the basketball with the trampolines, and he was just, "Yep." And I was like, "Not really." I mean, it's it's been a minute. I was like 7 when it last aired, I think around there. So it's been a minute, but yeah, I got that invitation, I guess. Then I spent that whole night, like hours, just watching highlights, and I saw some highlights from Remix, the person that invited me. I was like, oh yeah, this is valid. This is valid. And then it's
Hold on, let's talk about the Cartoon Network. Coach Kirsch, first of all, we are caricatures. I don't even know how you call it, of like real cartoons. We have gone from the low level and Cartoon Network. I love you because of He-Man, Transformers, all that stuff. But now we are on the ESPN, and we should win an ESPY, but we're not going to talk about that later. But now, hold on. When you heard about SlamBall, were you like, wait, you talk about that that was on Cartoon Network? Is that what you were thinking? And then you watch, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the real deal because SlamBall is an amazing sport. I'm about to get edited. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I keep
Well said.
I
cursing
can't
all the
wait to
time.
spend an hour after this just going through and editing and censoring and all that kind of stuff. Thanks, Coach.
I apologize.
I was just it was just like that. I had that same reaction. But yeah, it was all a blur. Then I had been in contact with Rob, the GOAT, in the off season, kind of a pain during season, but I'm not gonna talk about that. But oh yeah. Yeah, that's how that's how it happened.
I love it. No, and so I know you guys, we talked about it before, even though there are all these trampoline parks and sky zones and all that stuff, you didn't spend any time at any of those places, did you?
Nah.
Nope. This season was my first time jumping on a trampoline in like 20 years.
That's so wild.
That's crazy to me. So what's going through your head? Like, you come out on the SlamBall court and you're jumping on the trampolines for the first time. Like, how long did it take you to get used to it?
The first week, it was definitely the first week even leading into the second week. But the first week, it was just something new for me, like physically and mentally, especially physically. I don't think I've been more sore during any workout or during any kind of like training than the first week of SlamBall training. I guess it's because I just wasn't used to like absorbing those type of forces, or I don't know what it was, but yeah, it was rough.
So
Yeah.
And on top of that, what Dak was saying, like, yeah, my body haven't really went through like a time period of like falling and like being that high. And Pat was telling me it was like some type of syndrome you get from being so high up in the air. I don't know what type of syndrome he was saying, a sickness or some crap, but it was something he was saying like you get withdrawals when you leave the court. And I was like, man, this is crazy. I was throwing up and doing some more crap. So it was definitely a mental challenge, physical challenge, and just an all around challenge. It wasn't just sweet cakes and just, rainbows. It was tough.
Now talk about when you first fell, right? Because you guys are jumping higher than well, I don't know, Dak jumps pretty high, but you're jumping, and then they're teaching you how to fall, which is basically, I don't want to say go limp, but they don't want you to tighten up with everything else. How was that transition where you're like in control as a basketball player, and now you're like, you know what? In order for you to be safe, just fall on your ass. You're fine.
I wasn't feeling it at first. I ain't gonna lie. It took me a while. I ain't gonna lie. I was not feeling it because for some wild reason, I broke my wrist a while back. I usually fall like this. Like, I don't know. It's just an instinct. And he like, no, just fall back on your back. I'm like, my head though. He like, man, it's a trampoline. You straight. So I'm like, yeah, you right. So yeah, but it took a while though. It took a while.
Yeah. Yep. That was I forgot who told me. It was just a great tip I got. Somebody told me to just cross my arms whenever I'm falling, and that's what I've been doing. And it's just like muscle memory within like the first couple of weeks, and then like throughout the season, I was just like, if I'm missing a dunk or something, you're gonna see me, laying back crossing my arms. So it's just
looking like the Undertaker. That's what you were doing.
something like that. I'm just trying to remain injury free. That's it.
I love it.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point too, because a lot of people who haven't spent a ton of time on trampolines, they don't understand how hard it actually is. like, because you're using all those stabilizer muscles and all those muscles in your legs and your back that in your core that you don't use any other time other than when it's constantly compacting on that trampoline. So the soreness, I mean, it's pretty significant in the first few weeks for sure. How was, like, Dak, I know you mentioned like you were more sore out on the court for the first week than you were doing anything else. What do you guys do for treatment, and how did you like get your bodies prepared to get back out there being so sore?
I'm telling you, Epsom salt baths. We had what do you call the leg boot things? The Thermatech, or not Thermatech?
Normatec. It's
Normatec.
Normatec.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got the Normatecs. That definitely helped. And just just any kind of recovery method that I either heard of, or I definitely looked up some good recovery methods. We got into some tea making that helped as well. But it was just different little things every here and there. Stretching, of course, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah. I hear you. Do anything, Cam?
As far as like going to the training room, we was doing some like pool activities and stuff, but like I was just thinking about like the turnaround. Like if you get hurt, like a simple ankle sprain or a simple elbow, like your elbow get hit the wrong way, you got to get that stuff back. You got to get that stuff healed fast. Like, and with SlamBall, it has to happen like almost in like 3-4 days for you to get back, and like so you don't miss that feeling of the tramps. So we were doing a lot of pool workouts, but mostly it was the Normatix and then just simply icing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to have like tons of active recovery, because you're right. I mean, there were some guys who got injured and then never were cleared. And because, and I don't know what they're doing in their off time, but I know, Cam, you had hurt your ankle in the beginning, but you and Jamal, because we practiced together, were working all the time. And I'm sure you guys were working at home as well too, just to get it going with everything else. In that time when you got injured, was there like some fear setting in? Like, oh man, are they going to let me back on the tramp? Am I going to get cut? Is coach going to lose faith in me?
Man, yeah. I mean, yes and no. But your coach Sandy, he gave me a hard time, man. He kept talking about some hey, they sending boys home on that hound. I'm like, what you mean? He talking about the Greyhound. I said, man, stop playing with me, bro. Stop playing with me. He like, yeah, man, they sending you on the hound. It's gonna take you 2 days to get home. I said, nah, I gotta get right. I cannot do this. So I went into that training room. It was times like I was really working hard in there because I was really trying to get back. So I really had to lock in. That was my first time actually utilizing the training room in my whole time of sports career. Like I used to go, but I used to dick around in there. This was my first time going and like sitting down, like, bro, you got to do this. Every little step she say, Desiree, you need to do it. So yeah.
Yeah. For those who didn't know, Cam Horton was the first overall pick for the Mob, pick 4. We picked in the 4th slot, so we got Cam as our handler, and then Darius Clark, pick number 2. But Cam came out, and in our very first team camp practice, I think it was your first takeoff, right, from the top tramp. He was wearing ankle roll guards and rolled his ankle on the pad, which kind of defeats the purpose of the ankle roll guards because you're not always in the trampoline all the time. There's actually pads and court and other parts to the slam court. But rolled his ankle. And how long were you out? Like 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, I got back maybe a week and a half before the season. And I came in and got hurt in the scrimmage because I tried to do some stuff outside our offense. And me and Cam popcorn, and I went flying. I said, "Oh man, I'm gonna have a rough year." That's what I was thinking. I was like, "Nah, this ain't it."
I love it. All right, now we kind of jumped ahead. So you guys, you guys hadn't, you remembered SlamBall from what it was. I'm sure at some point you went back and started watching the old games and all that stuff. You show up to the court, and now all of a sudden you watched highlights. You mentioned you're seeing some of these players like Stan Fletcher, Noah Ballou, Josh Carlson, like some of the guys that did it at a very high level. What were your thoughts? Did any of those old players inspire you at all? And what were your thoughts on seeing those guys do SlamBall?
I say TA definitely, and Stan the Man. He was like the Patty Mahomes of SlamBall. I felt like, the the greatest in the league. But yeah, it was like it was him, TA, who I like felt like I would resemble just because we're both high flyers. I didn't know how I was going to, if I was still going to be a high jumper on the trampolines or if it would have any kind of correlation. But just me as an athlete, I jump high. TA jumps high, so it's like that's who I'm gonna try to be.
Yeah, for me, I watched a lot of Coach Noah Ballou. He was amazing. He was the quick king in my opinion. I feel like he got to the bat. He was efficient with his takes. Sean Inches Jackson, it was hard not to he resembled AI so much. So it's like this was Allen Iverson of SlamBall. And I liked that because, you know what I'm saying, he looked like somebody outside my window. So I liked it. Sean Inches Jackson and Coach Carson, I liked his I just like how he played the point guard role. And that's kind of like the player I've been all through college, is just trying to be a good teammate and distribute the ball. So I fell in love with his game as well. Yes, sir.
We in slam ball, we call that the handler position. We do not affiliate ourselves to the game of basketball, whatever they call point guard. That bull crap. You're a handler. You handle the ball. You get shit happen.
Yeah, big handler.
So, all right, you're at camp. You're at those guys. Did you? Because people don't realize that they brought on, what was it called, Coach? The Super 24, right? The original,
Yep.
The initial 24 players that we brought on, and then they brought in a secondary group, all that were eligible for the draft pool. So you guys, even though you ended up on different teams, we did the draft and all that stuff, you were in one kind of pool of players together for multiple weeks. Were there any kind of friendships that you forged with players on other teams during that time? And if so, who was that?
Most definitely. It was I'm pretty sure we were in P1 house group. It was like 6 or 7 of us, and it was Ty. This is my first time calling him Ty. I normally call him New York, the stopper for the Buzzsaw, and
Tyquan Scott.
yeah, and Zoe definitely. Everybody from since we're really like after slam or after practice, we all come to the house and we always just chat and see, just give everybody insight or how they feel about the sport or whatever. And then we just kind of became brothers in the first couple weeks, and then after that they all had to get dunked on, they all had to get all that, but yeah.
And you know what? But and that's the thing too. Like right during the Super 24, you guys all have different houses, and then after the draft, everybody moved into their house with everything else. So it's an interesting dynamic because now you're not with your team right away. Like these dudes already, and it's talking crap is usually on a friendly version, and then as the season goes on, it gets a little bit more. You can't get your feelings hurt with anything. Now, Cam, I know you're not a big. Neither one of you guys, I don't know, are big to begin with. But Cam, how'd you like living with people, like 7 people? Did you feel like you're back in college?
Man, I feel like I was on a reality TV show. Like we all up in this mud. Hey, everybody got different personalities. Everybody got different tendencies, so we had to figure it out. I was with the house where I was with was Cascade. We had Keith McGee, Big T, Sean Still. We had Alex. He had ended up going home, but he was cool. Trey Landers. We had
you had a loud house.
Yeah, we had
you had those dudes.
Man, it was loud in there, but it was cool though because we learned Mike, shout out to Mike. We just had we had a good house, you know what I'm saying? It was a lot of brotherly love, but me, I'm knowing business. I'm like, it's gonna be a time we gonna all be playing against each other. And they reiterated that a few times. So I like when you tell me 2 or 3 times, I'm like, okay, this like we don't need to get too brotherly love because we finna go that. Yeah, it's finna get real. Yeah,
Thanks.
it's finna get real. But I still got love for all them boys though.
Now, how was was there problem with the dishes?
Oh yeah,
Was there a couple people that were like, man, yo, I cannot. First of all, you have a girl and the girl lives with you. Oh man, you, I can't even imagine.
man. It was boys like. When you live with your woman, she probably gonna come up behind you and say like she gonna put that woman touch on. When you living with a bunch of boys, men, excuse me, when you living with a bunch of men, it get real. Somebody might leave some piss on the side of the seat.
Ooh.
Yeah, what it is. I was a janitor in high school and college. I don't say I clean up behind no mess, but before I sit down on the seat, I'm gonna make sure it's clean. You feel me?
Listen, Coach Kirsch, there is no podcast out there like SlamBall Nation where we are talking about jumping on a tramp, going 8-0, and then cleaning piss on the side of the toilet. Cam, I love this, man. You are bringing us the content that the people desire.
Listen,
I'm
that's
just being
inside
honest,
access, Coach. That's what it's all about. People
That's
want
right.
the inside access. Everybody know what happened. Everybody watched the season. But did they know that Cam had to check the seat before? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We need to know that kind of stuff. That's just inside access that people are interested in. So,
And it's real talk. I love that. I mean, listen,
and it's real talk.
I mean, we all do. We go to the public restroom. We're like, oh, man, this is what happens.
Now, wait. So you're talking about this was the team house that you were living in during tryouts. We have the draft. You guys get drafted by the Mob, one of the best teams in the history of the sport, in my personal opinion. Get drafted by the Mob, and then you move into the Mob team house. So how was the Mob team house? Like, tell us about that living situation.
Hey, shout out to Gage, man. I'm not gonna lie. He was always, because I'm not gonna lie. I'm more of a I become late to practices a lot. It's a bad habit. I can't.
Well, you were late to
yeah.
this podcast by like at least 10 minutes, so it seems to carry over.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, Gage, he was just, we gotta leave at this time, about 30 minutes. 30 minutes before I would leave is when he wanted to leave. And that's when we left. And he was like he wasn't telling us to clean, but we all saw him do a lot of cleaning, which made us be like, all right, let me clean the kitchen a couple times, because he was hey, shout out to Gage.
Yes,
But you're saying Gage was like the team mom.
Yeah.
I could see that. I could totally see that. I hope he makes cookies next year.
No, it was Cam. Or not it was Space. Space.
Cam Hollins.
He was the cook, Hollins. He made some salmon, he made some steak. I don't think he made any dessert. But yeah, that's why I think we have, like our team bonded as we did, is because we all had like our what do you call them? Our superpowers. Gage was the one to keep us all, in check in a way. And Space was the one, making the great foods. Me, the one, just vibing. We got
just
Cam.
vibing. You were the one who took the biggest bedroom, where your closet, your closet for your shoes was bigger than the space that Gage Smith was sleeping in, I think. So let's just throw all that out there, Dak. This is an insider podcast. We know what happened at the team house. You had Gage Smith sleeping in the damn living room. That's what you guys had. And you had Cam Hollins. By the way, he needs to open up a restaurant, because I was there for some film sessions and stuff like that. And I had that salmon. And that salmon was some of the best food I've ever had in my life. So shout out to Cam Hollins for his cooking. But
wait, hold on. Let's make a prediction.
Why are you making the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year sleep in the living room?
I told him, I said, no, first of all, not Space. Horton. Golly, y'all got the same name.
Hey, wop.
WAP. So we had WAP. He was the first one in the house. So he had, first takes on the room. So shout out to WAP because he said I can have the Masters. So I was like, oh man. But no, we told Gage that he can have the Masters for next season. For sure. Unless he don't want it.
Gage is going to invite you all. You guys are all going to be living in the master bedroom. He's going to be like, come on, guys. Come on, it's okay. Just put your bed to the side. That's
We
okay.
can all bunk in here. We can get like 7 bunk beds in here.
Yeah. Then we could all just walk around the house.
I love it. No, one of the things I did want to ask you guys about though is as a head coach, one of the things I worried about, honestly, and coach, I don't know if you agree with this, was the fact that the season was in Vegas, because we had in early SlamBall, it was 95% great dudes and 5% knuckleheads. You know what I mean? And if you had one of those knuckleheads in a city like Vegas, I mean, we were out in LA, you could get into some serious trouble out there. And so I know we were a little bit worried as coaches. I mean, we didn't seem to have a knucklehead in the entire group of SlamBall, but talk a little bit about what you guys did being in Vegas when you weren't doing SlamBall stuff.
Well, wait. We do have some documented proof that there were some knuckleheads on SlamBall, but we won't be mentioning that today. That won't be talked about. Go ahead, Dak. I apologize for cutting you off there.
We had knuckleheads.
See,
You guys ponder that for a second.
I heard about some stuff. I did. I heard about some
Got
stuff.
bad memory. Yeah. Wait, what was the question?
So what are you guys doing during your downtime? I mean, SlamBall took up 6 days a week. Probably what, 8 to 12 hours a day when you talk about film and treatment and practice and driving to the venue or driving home from the venue, all the stuff that you have to do. But when you had time off on your one day off or at nights, what were you doing?
I don't really know. We were really just chilling. Like nobody on the mob is like a partier. Nobody really went out too often. Especially being in Vegas. And it was just a lot of chilling, a lot of vibing. You know, we have a pool in our backyard. We got, it's not too much that we need to go out and go do. We did go to the mountains one time. We went to the mountains, got in trouble for that.
Real talk though, real talk.
And you did 4-wheeling, didn't you?
Huh?
You guys did 4-wheeling in the mountains, didn't you?
Oh, that was a different time. I didn't go that time. I think
I ain't go that time either. Yeah.
But yeah, we just drove up to some mountains.
I know you did a lot of driving. I'll tell you that because I know you were over on your rental car miles. There was no small issue made about that. So you were definitely over on the unlimited rental car miles. So shame on you for that. And then also, what do you need 5 times the gas cards that everybody else needed? I mean, what were you guys doing?
We had to go. All right. So we had to get groceries.
Drama.
Some of us was like, I want to go to Sam's, and then others, I want to go to Walmart. So it's just stuff like that. It's just grocery shopping.
And like you said, Coach, unlimited gas card, unlimited.
Yep, that is true.
Unlimited mileage, not gas card, but mileage.
Yeah.
And we at one point we was like, all right, we'll throw some of our cheese in there. They like, nah.
I would love to hear the debate between Sam's Club and Walmart because they're owned by the same person. But that's fine. I mean, you guys could debate that all you want.
Sam's got the best steaks. They got the best bulk. Like if you're bulk shopping, we going to Sam's. But if we're late night, midnight snack, Walmart it is.
Hey, the mob stayed in Sam's too, man. We need a sponsorship. Shout out to Sam's Club.
Oh,
Sam's.
There you
and
go,
Raising
Taylor.
Cane's.
We've got Coca-Cola and Sam's Club for you.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're doing your job for you.
All right. So we've talked a little bit, Mob Team House, all that kind of stuff, what you guys did during downtime. We open up ESPN, national TV, ESPN, 8 p.m. tip on the East Coast. Mob versus Rumble, night one. You go from practicing in a warehouse to playing on national TV. How nervous were you guys?
Man. I was a nervous wreck the first quarter. The first 5 minutes of the game, I didn't know what was going on. Then I got all tired. When you're nervous, you get tired. So it was a disaster, personally.
It definitely was. It was tough. I ain't gonna lie. Out the gate, I went ahead and just fouled somebody. I like, you know what? I got to get it in the face off. That's the only way I'm gonna be able to. Cause I thought about it, I was like, if I go out there trying to score like Kobe, I'm gonna shoot myself out the game. So I gotta go. I gotta foul somebody quick. And I found at the time. Shout out to Big Dog for the Rumble. What's his name? I be forgetting names, Coach.
Who was it? Tamira
Fields?
Kill?
Not TC. Shout out TC, but the number 2 pick,
Kalen Tippett Hill.
number 3. Not
No,
Hill,
we're talking about Bakari.
Bakari.
Bakari Copeland.
Yeah, so I'm looking at him. I'm like, oh, I done fouled the wrong person, but I'd rather get it in the face off. And yeah, I went up there on the face off, and then after that face off, Dak got his dunk. Man, we went on a run. I said, oh yeah.
Yeah, you won by like 50.
Yeah, but you don't want to see what happened after that, man.
No, I was about to say that wasn't
You don't want to know what happened after that, man. It's
Listen,
film
not
out there
always
somewhere.
the final score. You know what I mean? It's not always about the final score. Sometimes it's just about making sure that you're running offense at a high level, you know?
And I ain't gonna lie, Coach. I
Oh
didn't
my
know that.
God, some dramatic music.
I didn't understand that until SlamBall, like, cause I never really been on a winning team, so I had to understand, like, it's not about them first few games. We got to be sharpened by this last. Like, we need to be well seasoned by this last to go around, and yeah, so that helped me understand that a lot. Yes,
Well, how did you feel about the game? Because you're nervous as hell. You said you play the first quarter. I saw you guys were so gassed. I mean, we did more substitutions in that quarter than most games combined. So I saw you guys were gassed. Eyes were wide as saucer. Same for the Rumble, though. I mean, to be put in that situation where you're coming out of a warehouse and you're being thrown on national TV to play the very first game that SlamBall's played in 20 years. I mean, there's some pressure there. So how was the game? When did it slow down for you? And what was the experience like overall?
After that first game, really, because it was just not how we played, but by the amount we won by, it kind of gave us some confidence, and that kind of took a lot of the stresses away. And yeah, it was just less. It was like week after week, game after game, it was just becoming more normal. And then by the end of the season, it was just like I'm more, actual like excited to get on the court rather than nervous. So it was just a compound interest of winning.
Yeah. For me, I say I was nervous after the first game, but I seen how well my teammates was picking up slack. So I was like, oh man, like not saying I could just make these careless mistakes, but when you got Dak and Gage down there doing what they got to do, it's like, okay, let me figure out myself in these little times, but let's do it within the offense because I got some guys that's gonna back me up. Cam Hollins, Brandon, Bird getting there doing this thing. So
Every time, Coach, this is like an inside mob joke, but every single time Deontay Bird did anything, he might be walking around the team house or getting in the car or like changing his shoes, or he's at practice like Duncan. Everybody had their own unique bird sound. So mine would be
Oh my. I wouldn't be surprised if everybody just turned off the podcast right now after they hear bird sound.
Hey, that's when Bird got that. He got that Odell Beckham block.
That's right.
Crazy.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
All right. So we practiced with the Buzzsaw. It's pretty well documented. Training camp, team camp. We were lucky enough to be paired up with the Buzzsaw. Now, we didn't keep exact records, but I think the Buzzsaw kicked your ass half the time in the scrimmages.
Here we
go. What were your thoughts on that?
No.
I think the Buzzsaw, y'all ain't gonna lie. It was live that first day. I remember TA came in there. TA said, y'all shut up talking that smack and just play slam ball. He started
Oh,
getting into everybody.
brother.
I was like, dang.
Yeah.
But I wasn't playing, and I ain't gonna lie. I think, like, you know what I'm saying. But I still was. Me and Sandy was like this. Like for about 2 weeks straight, me and Sandy was at it. So we going at it every time we do something. We going crazy. Every time Buzzsaw do something, they going crazy. And then I think after that day, it just got. I think y'all might have won one more time, but then one day I think we went on like a 60-point scoring streak. We ain't missed no point. I promise you. That was shout out
No,
to that
you,
Gage
you,
and all the boys that was out there.
you did miss some points, but I mean, we can't score, so we just have to be physical. Like that's all. I mean, this amazing offense that I put together, because it is my fault. Like it's just like we couldn't score. So when Kirsch is always like, "Oh man, the Buzzsaw was whooping ass," man, and like, go to hell with that. He was, I already knew. You guys, listen. I was like, we got to go ahead and we got to continue to train at a high level with these guys, and our guys are going to come around, and we did right during the course of the year. Everything else with it, it worked almost until the championship game. The slashers got in the way because it was again horrible coaching by me, but. Like, listen, like you guys, man, I always say this. Like, Cam comes down, he jumps on the island. And I told you this, Cam, we adjusted our defense because of you, because Cam would get on the island and we adjusted, said, all right, that the person guarding Cam or the handler got to get to the baseline, get some steals off that stuff. And the thing about you guys is that you guys really competed but executed. So you weren't like other teams throwing the ball off the plexiglass. Because you would just get that damn lob anyways. I'm like, well, they're messing up my defense. All right, well, we got to go to another plan. And then that plan didn't work. And then we went to another plan, and that plan didn't work. So, but it's trial by error with everything else. But no, and that's the thing where I think that teams don't, and I don't know how many coaches and teams are going to say, right? We have to adjust based on the teams. Your guys had obviously your strengths. We were trying to adjust with it. You are adjusting to it and going at a higher level. The other teams, we're all trying to play catch up, and I think, slashers and us are closer, whereas there's still a gap because you guys were just ahead on the offensive side.
Yeah, and to that point too, Coach, a lot of teams started doing that, thinking that I was just gonna go to the island. So that's why Coach Kirsch used to get on my ass like, "Hey, you got the quickest step in this league. You need to start using it." So I was like, "You're right," and it was like I was scared because I was scared. Taekwon big down there. I'm gonna be real. When you going at him, you taking one the wrong way, you could end up on that wood falling on your elbow. So, but it was just like when you go quick, man, you gotta have no fear. You just gotta go. You'll be all right.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is fearlessness. And that's what I don't think I ever used the F word before, Cam. I mean,
Oh no, my bad, Coach. That's all me. I just I'm animated.
But I do remember in a game. I'll tell you a story about Cam Horton. I remember in a game, he's going to the island. He's reading the stopper. He's throwing the lob. And every once in a while, I just want you're trying to show different attacks. You're trying to show every stopper different variations of the attack. And I just want him to go quick because Cam Horton got so good at like going quick. And I tell him, I'm like, you need to go quick a little more often. We were in like the second quarter. He hadn't gone quick. And I looked at him. He was coming up the floor. And I was like, are you scared to attack? Are you scared? And you should have seen the look he gave me. Like, I'm surprised he didn't come over and just knock me out on the sidelines. And he, on the very next play, went as fast as he could, dunked all over, I forget who it was, and then probably had like 3 more quicks in the next minute and a half. And I had to pull him out because he was gassed, and he was looking at me like, I'm not scared to attack, Coach. I can't believe you would say something like that to me.
Those are the best stories. Those are the best stories. When coaches get on a player, and the player just looks at the coach like, the F you talking about? But sometimes you need that. Sometimes I'd be screaming at all my guys like, I need you. I don't know I'd be screaming at Malik. I'm like, because Malik would go ahead and try and dunk everything one-handed. I'm like, 2 hands, damn it. He's like, my bad, Coach. And then when he does it, I'm like, you see, I'm not crazy all the time. Maybe 95% of the time. 5%, I give you some good coaching stuff. You should listen to my 5%.
Real tough. Yeah, that's real.
Now, what team do you think matched up best with the Mob? I mean, we played everybody multiple times. Was there a team that you thought, hey, this is a pretty good matchup or better than some of the other teams?
I feel like it's the lava. It's either the lava or the slashers. Both got some good offense.
Yeah. How was Tony Crosby hitting? That's what I want to know, because everybody he led the league in hits because the number of hits that he laid. He's a small guy, but I don't think people realize how strong he is. Like, I guess here's my question: who out of everybody in the league would you like to be hit by the least?
Who on the lava? What's his name? Big dude.
Josh.
Goodness gracious. That's one. Yeah. So with Tony, he's a cheater. He cheats. if I'm in the air, then he's like, oh, perfect. Now's the perfect time to hit whoever's in the air. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, he hits, but not a lot of are illegal, will I say. Now, he did give me a good couple times. But Shockley, I feel like he's just a hard hitter. He like has a lot of momentum because he's coming at you fast and he's already, strong. So it's like, dang. But luckily I don't think I got hit by him last season. So
Tony is a cornerback in football that's smart, that can hit, not really knock you out, but he pick his spots where he'll get you. It'll take toll on you. So he a smart hitter where it's to the point where he know when to kind of sneak in certain hits to make you feel it. Shockley is more like your
he's like Ray Lewis.
Old school football. Like he don't care about nothing. He gonna run through you. And that's like Dak said, that momentum is scary, but at the same time, it could hurt you. It hurt them a few times. Or them just lunging out thinking they just finna take us out like we wasn't prepared. So, to each his own. It may work for some of you future SlamBall players. It may work, it may not. You just got to figure out what you do best and bring it to SlamBall.
Yeah, and I think you hit a point on, because there are some guys who are just, trying to lay people out, but that just gets you more tired.
Yeah.
Like, because you're trying to chase people around, like you've got to be really good. You two guys are great just protecting yourself and just avoiding and, that low contact just to keep going over and over again. But yeah, if you try to hit someone really hard, all right, you're going to show up on ESPN. But you know what? You're going to be damn tired, and more than likely, you're going to lose.
You're going to lose.
That's facts. That's facts.
I agree. Like, the one thing I always tried to teach our players is you don't need to blow a guy up. You just need to take a guy out of the play. Like, we had this play that we ran again and again. It was like a play that we would run out of our secondary break called Dragon. And in it, Gage Smith would like pop to the wing. He would distribute the ball, and then he would release back down to the defensive side of the court. And we specifically had him releasing to go blow a guy up in the middle of the court. But it was so often he didn't actually have to blow the guy up. Like, there's no point in intentionally trying to hurt somebody. It's like, just take him out of the play so that we get our score. Right. And I think most of the SlamBall players got that, because it really is a brotherhood at the end of the day. I mean, you're wanting to win games, but you're not wanting to hurt other players at the same time. But there were a couple guys for sure that they were going out there trying to hurt people. I think there's one or two of those guys. We had rules meeting. Coach H and I had rules meeting with the coaches and some of the league executives. And one of the things that we talked about was there's going to be two different types of fouls in SlamBall next season, just like there is in the NBA, a flagrant 1 and a flagrant 2. In addition to all the other types of fouls, so that if there is some type of egregious hit with an intent to injure or something like that, a player is going to be ejected, points are going to be awarded, all that stuff. So it's smart. It up a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
That's smart. Coach, like you was, I want to piggyback on what you were saying. Some players, like, I started to see emotion kick in towards the end. Like, you'll be cool with somebody. I'm not throwing shade at nobody, but you'll be cool with somebody. But around the time it started to get to, like, all right, it's the playoffs now. Like, you'll see, like, it wasn't the same. So it's like, okay, you got to really protect yourself, and you got to still hunt, because your man's, he's still your man's. Don't get me wrong, we still brotherhood. But like, I started to see like that look in the wolves. The wolves, they hungry. So it's like, you got to be ready too. I started to see that look in folks' eyes. I'm like, oh yeah, so it's that time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
the one thing I was most worried about. I talked to Coach H about this. Funny enough, because Coach H doesn't think that the Buzzsaw, remember, Coach, we were talking about it because we played each other so much during the preseason.
Yeah.
And then we play each other during the regular season. And you were like, these guys aren't hitting each other. Like they're buddy. They're not hitting each other because they became brothers during the preseason.
Yeah, they're
And
like, oh, it's my boy.
Yep.
No, y'all was slick, man. Y'all had good handling play. Like it wasn't as easy to blow somebody up as they think it is. Like trying to get your hands on Terrell. Like I done seen them make people look silly. So you got to really.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was just like it was. Sometimes it was people making good moves too.
Yeah, I learned my lesson on trying to like hit people during the preseason, practicing with the Buzzsaw in like the first game. And I know Coach was telling me, he told me, I don't need to exactly hit people. Like if we're on defense, my number one goal, my number one job is just to either keep my guy from entering the tramps, and you can do that without blowing somebody up, or just just being aggressive without blowing somebody up. Because I tried to get a couple hits in early on, and it never worked. It just never worked for me. It's either they got past me, or if you watch the Rumble game, I tried to hit Bakari, simply didn't work. He just didn't feel it, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, it's just so it's like, but for me, SlamBall, it doesn't have to be about hitting. Although you see a lot of big hits, it's more, or to me, it's just more spacing, being in the right position, making sure the person you're guarding doesn't get to where they're wanting to go. So it's just that's a part of the strategy of the game.
Mm-hmm. That's the football
that's it.
side of it coming in, because every hit in football ain't finna just be, sometimes you gotta just get somebody down. So that's the fun of it as well. Yes, I agree with that one.
I'm gonna try to get a couple hits in next year though. Not gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah, we owe Tony some for that he tried that last game.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, man, that was wrong, man.
I'm telling you.
That was wrong.
Now there is, like, we talk about it a lot. There's a strategic opportunity to hit when there is. You know what I mean?
Right.
When a guy has the ball and you have the ability to blow him up and separate him from the ball, that's the most important part. Like, totally get that. But off the ball, it's more about just disrupting timing. You know what I mean? It's like if you're a SlamBall fan and you're watching the game and you're watching off the ball defense, it's more you're going to see people just disrupt timing, because you're talking about a very small window of a second where you're trying to hit a guy on the way up and then it's too late. So if you can just disrupt the timing on the weak side, that's really what most of it's about.
Yeah.
All right. So who do you think is what Coach H and I love to have this conversation. It's one of our favorite topics. It's rivalries. So who do you think is the Mob's rival? Do we have one, or are we still looking?
Lava got my vote. I vote Lava.
I feel like we got two. I feel like the Lava and I feel like the Lava and the Slashers most deaf. Like that's
I disagree with both of you guys. Like, there's no rivalry. You can't have a rivalry if you haven't lost. Like, what?
It feels. I'm not gonna. It feels like it doesn't feel like we lost, but it feels like we have the most to prove. I don't know if it's just if it's just me.
No,
but it's like
no.
It's a lot. There's a lot of like. There was a lot of not disrespect. Yeah, there you go. I'm telling you.
Listen, I understand. Listen, you guys just picked two teams that Coach Kirsch decided to pick a fight with either a coach or a player on either one of those teams. Listen, I get it.
Erroneous.
I pay attention to every moment, and I seen, after the championship game, I'm trying to soak all this in, but the competitor in me still going, and I look over I look over there at the Slashers bench, and I see Zoe, and he got that look in his eyes. He looking at us like he wanted, like he'll be back next year. So I'm still in my mind like, look, we celebrate now, but like I'm telling you, I know these boys. I see the look, so I'm like, okay, I know what's going on. I know what we got to bring because I see it. I'm looking at it.
I just target on our back, so that make us, even more hungry.
Listen,
for the next season.
I seen it.
I just want to see the look in their eye right now on December 10th or whatever this day is today, or 12th that we're recording this, I want to see the look in their eye now. I want to see that look. I mean, I don't think the look is there. I don't think the look is there. I'll be honest. I don't think the look is there.
Well, now
Coach,
we
I
got
Not in December. Not in December.
This was a look. See, it's a different. You got a look of like there was a look of like anime trying to get revenge, get back. Like I seen it, but I'm on that time too though. Like we on that time too. Like you got to come. We want it too. So because it's a lot being said. I seen some stuff posted by Quantum Roberts. I think that's his name.
Mhm.
He
Sam,
posted some
yep.
stuff. Some guy was like, who was the most overrated player in SlamBall? They talking about it's a few guys on the mob. They feel like gotta still prove themselves and stuff like that. This right after we won.
Hey,
This
man.
right after we won.
Yeah.
Haters gonna hate and ain'ters gonna aim.
That
That's
post
the
ate me
bottom
up.
line right there.
Yeah, that's real cool.
No, I'm telling you right now. Now this is not going to be a popular pick. I hope we're not undefeated again.
Whoa.
Like in the beginning. I'm going to tell you why. Because when we got to 14-0 and we played in game 15 and 16 and then the semifinals and the finals, did you guys not feel like guys were hitting you a little bit harder or maybe hitting you a little bit later than they normally would have? Like every single team wanted to beat your ass so bad. You had the biggest target on your back. Like that, if you had lost in week 2, nobody would have cared. You know what I mean? So
we wouldn't have been
part of it-
undefeated though. We wouldn't have had the ring that says 18-0.
True.
You're right.
No, I'm proud of you guys. I have the utmost respect for you. But man, I was worried. I talked to Coach H about this. I was like,
Yeah, you
man,
did.
I'm telling you, cheap shots are going to start coming, and
Yeah.
they're going to start coming aplenty because somebody's going to want to kick you off the mountain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was worried for you guys.
Well,
for that.
and it's always going to be like that. And from Coach Kirsch's perspective, you guys are players. Coaches always want things to kind of like chop the players down a little bit, because it's just like anything, right? We get complacent, with everything else, and it'll be interesting to see next year. New players are coming in, right? What players are kept on different teams, and then how hungry they are with everything else. And then the other part, which I think players struggle with, when things are different, when the team is different, players like, oh man, this ain't the same as last year. Well, grow up, right? like those are things that you guys have to say to your teammates or new teammates. Oh, I didn't drop anything there, Coach Kirsch. Or even with my guys, like you gotta, who knows? You don't really know, and that means like the core group, like you guys are the core group, are gonna have to bring everybody together, along with Mama Gage Smith making cookies and cleaning the house and everything else. And the same thing with my team, the Buzzsaw. Like, hey, this is what we do. It's up to you to bring them. Like that's gonna be, for me, the more exciting, interesting part, and I want to see which coaches do a better job.
Well, the biggest thing I think it is when you want to, and I'm speaking for the mob specifically, for players like, and I know coaches will do their job and evaluate these guys 100% all the way through, but you have to real life sacrifice yourself when you want to join with us, because it was never one person bigger than the team. We really took this as a brotherhood. So it won't, it's not the James Harden. Like, you want to be James Harden, you probably want to go to the Rumble, maybe, I don't know, somewhere on that side of the street. But over
You're
here,
right,
man,
though.
you got to really sacrifice yourself and become, really the mob. Like, pump that mob blood through you. You got to take your blood out your body and put mob blood in your body.
Yep.
I love these sound bites are tremendous. These sound bites are tremendous.
What he says is true, because I showed up for the championship game, the semifinals and the finals, and I was like, I'm going to wear black on black with a red carnation because I'm dressing for somebody's funeral, and it sure as hell ain't going to be ours. And I'm thinking to myself, didn't tell a soul about any of that. And I get to the arena, and guess who's wearing black on black with a white carnation? Sean Inches Jackson. And I was like, mob for life, my brother. And he's like, Coach, we're going to do it. Like, I'm telling you, some of our ex-players, Coach, they actually felt the wins and losses. Like, when I turned my phone on after a game, when I got home, turned my phone on, like, the first people to text me would be like LaMonica Garrett, Kevin Cassidy, Chris Robbins, like all those old guys, Patrick Paul, like, hey, was really proud of Cam Horton or whoever it was. Like, this game, it was pretty cool experience for sure.
Well, and I think, Cam, you hit it on the head, because really, if you do look at the way the mob played, is that you guys distributed. You did have guys who understand what their role was, and that's a hard thing to do. Like the slashers, you knew that Tony was going to go ahead and get the ball. You know, on these other teams, you knew, like the Griffs, you know who's going to get the ball, the Rumble, etc. With that, the Buzzsaw, we were just hoping we were going to score 2 points, but that's besides the point. The thing is, like, but you guys like sacrifice, and I think you guys sacrifice. I think my guys sacrifice, and I don't know how many other teams, and it's not a knock on any other team whatsoever, because teams are built the way they're built. But you guys did a really, really good job of really, and that's why I like Cam. I love these sound bites because I know it's the truth. And any championship team needs to have that. You have to sacrifice, and you have to buy into what the team is doing.
Have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So here's the big question. I'm throwing wood on the fire here, but in the words of John Trippin, can anyone beat the mob? Is anybody going to beat us in Series 7?
I'm trying to tell you, the closest game is going to be like 22. We're going to win by like 22. That's going to be the closest.
Oh my
Coach
God.
Kirsch is about to have a heart attack.
Yeah,
But- but
it's
is
such
loving
horrible
it.
locker room material.
At the same time.
I'm telling you.
Hey, we already got the target on our back, so it's like you might, at this point, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we might as well embrace it.
Yeah, you might as well.
That's true. That's true.
Wear
I
it on
know
your
Coach
jacket,
H.
man.
Coach H going to be coming up with something. Like I knew it. What did I tell you guys before we played the Buzzsaw the second time? I was like, Coach H is always tinkering. He's going to look at something. He's going to try something. He's going to try to take us out of our game plan. And that was the very first time we saw two dudes double teaming Dak off the ball the entire game.
I was like, man.
I know what was
I know
got-
you're going to be steaming, Coach.
But right? Like we got to try. And I think that's the other part. Like you tried your stuff. I tried different stuff. Like as a coach, you've got to try different things, especially when you're playing against high-powered offenses, even if it's gimmicky. I was like, go get that. We did that with the slashers. Go get Tony because, shoot, you cut off somebody, maybe you have a chance. But, you know,
That's it.
I have to figure out something. I may have to, like, sneak in a fifth or sixth guy out there on the court underneath the tramps.
Hey, the lava.
I
tried
know
to
the
do
Lava
one
tried
time.
that once. Yeah, the Lava tried that once. They had an injured guy down there, and when it was coming back, where they had to get back on defense, they just threw a fifth guy out of the court. Like,
Hey,
it didn't wait.
Them lava games was heavyweight knockouts, man. That was
Yeah.
some real. That was
Those are good
fun.
games.
Yeah,
Fun.
they're a good team. I mean, the thing about the Lava is, I will say they were injured so much. Like
Yeah.
they didn't get their whole team healthy until the end. And Coach Carlson did do a good job of like those tweaks at the end,
He
where
did.
he modified their offense and they ran it pretty effectively there.
Stack one.
But what I will say is just for mob fans out there, like the one thing that we went through the entire season, it's hard, and Coach H knows this. He probably does a much better job of it actually than I do. But it's really hard to enjoy the experience while the game is going on because there's so much that you're focused on, so much that you're watching. And I was stressed. Like every single morning of a game day, I would go on a long walk and I'd be thinking about strategy and all the things that I needed to tell you guys and all those types of things. But I will say in the finals game, because we were up by so much towards the end, for that entire last quarter, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in SlamBall because I knew we were going to win. I was able to substitute kind of with whoever. It didn't matter. It was like whoever needed a break. And that was the only quarter of SlamBall I've ever been able just to watch and enjoy what you guys had accomplished. Like watching you play at such a high level with the hearts that you guys have, just so much appreciation and respect and admiration and truly love there for you guys and what you accomplished. And I'm talking to you two and the entire mob team. So appreciate you guys not only being on this podcast, but certainly with the commitment you made to SlamBall.
Of course. We appreciate you, Coach.
Most deaf, Coach. All the
Hold on,
way.
I'm going to start crying. I mean,
Creator.
hold on, man.
There you go,
All the
Coach.
way, man. Shout out to
Kleenex,
Mason
Taylor.
Moore
We
for
need a
Mason Sport, man.
sponsorship with Kleenex.
No, I tell you what, from an opposing coach, and I do enjoy games a little bit more than Coach Kirsch does, but I watching you guys, and I think not only, I've known Coach Kirsch for such a long time, but being able to practice with you guys and then like rooting you guys on, except against us, right? Like that's just what it is. But watching it go through it, like was awesome. And as a coach, you just learn different things. And listen, this season, you guys were freaking unbelievable. I give you all the love, all the props in the world with everything else, because it really was fun to watch, except when we played against each other. But besides all the other parts, it was really great. And it's a true testament of the coaching, the teaching, but also the execution and the buy-in of all you guys. And that, again, I'll say it again, like I said earlier, like coaches, players, you want to know how to win? You got to sacrifice. And you got to execute. You do those two things, everything else could fall in place for you.
That's facts.